I might just quit. I might just hang up the license. I might just hang up the gloves, the cleats, open houses, and I just sucked. My skills weren't there, but I was working on getting better. And I'm like freaking out, and I'm like praying, and I'm like, thank you, God. And this is from a door knock, random door knock. I don't know who these people are. So you're just getting into business and you're thinking, man, this real estate thing is hard. Why did I decide to become a realtor? It's the worst thing. It sucks. It's a tough market, right? Well, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I want to go back to talk about how I won Rookie of the Year in 2018. So we know this is a tough industry. It's tough, but it's also not hard. If you stick to it and you give it enough time, enough effort, and you break through, it becomes easier, right? The business becomes easier, just like anything else. You put in the work, you work on your skills, you market, you do it, and you can become really good at it. So I got in the industry kind of by accident, right? So let's fast forward. I won the Rookie of the Year award, which was super important to me at a pretty top office in the area. I was at Remax Top Producers at the time. I had joined their office in I want to say mid 2017 after a couple of months of messing around with another brokerage. And I went in and I was like, hey, I'm going to go all in. And it was tough and it was hard. I went almost 8.5 months without a deal. Right? So I kind of want to break that down and how I broke through, how I was able to go into 2018 and, able to win Rookie of the Year. So, and this is going to be good for somebody who's just got into the business, who's probably thinking, man, maybe my mom, maybe my tia, maybe, my cousins, they were probably right. I shouldn't be in this industry. I should just go maybe back to school or maybe just get that 9-to-5 job that everybody wants me to get so I can make them happy and I can make them comfortable. And if that's you, you're going to want to listen to this, because there was a time where I was thinking, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to break through? How am I going to get to the next level? Am I ever going to close a home? And there might be some people that are feeling like that right now. So let's rewind a little bit. I got licensed in 2017, right? So right before 2017, I was selling car parts. Before I sold car parts, I was working at a pharmaceutical company. And at this pharmaceutical company, I had great benefits. I had 5 weeks off in the year, right? It was comfortable. My schedule was set. I knew what time I was going to the gym. I knew what time I was going to go out. I knew that I can work overtime if needed. It was great. Until I stopped liking the people I was working with, because I felt like they were bringing me down. I was trying to read books. I was trying to read the Bible, and they would mock me for that. So I was like, hey, you know what? I don't want to be part of this environment. I want to win. I don't want to just be normal. And some of you guys may have felt that in the past, right? Like, I want to just do more than just go to school, have a good job, have maybe a little retirement plan or whatever. And that was just me, right? So going into this, I was like, okay, I got to do something. So what did I do? I quit my job. Literally one day I just say, hey, I'm not showing up. I'm going to figure it out. I went into business with my dad to sell car parts. Now, the thing with the car part thing is like, hey, I want to get in business. It was a great entry. Like, we can probably do this. I was a little bit naive. I seen that he was making money. Didn't know how much money, nor did I ask. I was like, hey, you're going to sell stuff. I know how to sell stuff. I know how to talk to people. So I decided to go and join him in this venture of selling car parts. We would go basically as scavengers and go and pick up parts from junkyards and then resell them. And we'd just go pick them, resell. And he had a pretty good system. Now, I couldn't operate the way he would operate. He was okay with having $200 in his pocket. I didn't operate that way. I was like, hey, I really want to build this out. And he just kept wanting to buy stuff. And I was like, hey, we don't agree on some stuff. I don't know how to run a business. You clearly don't know how to run a business. So I'm just tired of it. I'm kind of tired of not having the money I need, long hours, I had to put in some of my money sometimes. It was just a lot, right? It was dirty. The people were not the people I wanted to be hanging around with. It was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I feel like I didn't belong. So I told my dad, like, hey, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to kind of figure it out. I'm going to go my own way. And he asked me, what are you going to do? And I was like, I have no idea. And this is my biological dad, not my stepdad. So we needed that time to kind of mend the relationship. And it was great, right? I told him, he was kind of sad, and I moved on. And so there was a time of the beginning of 2017. I basically gave him to the end of the year. 2017 came, January, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I decided to buy a course for a few $100s on digital marketing. And I'm like, and most of you guys may know who Ty Lopez is. And I bought the course, and I only had an iPad. And I'm going through the course, and I'm like, holy smokes, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. This is insane. Like, I'm not that tech savvy. At the time I thought so, right? Like, I'm not that tech savvy. How am I going to figure this out? There's no way. So I had to kind of scratch that, and I was still playing the game like, I'm going to do that. And then my aunt is like, hey, why don't you join real estate? Why don't you do that? You know, try it out. I went out to a lunch, and I met with a realtor, a lender, and a escrow officer. And they were nice enough to take me out to a brunch. Super cool. And I was like, these guys are making some money. I didn't know how much money they were making, but they're telling me they're making money. They're wearing a suit. It looked nice. It looked fun. I was like, all right, let's do this. You got to pick your own schedule. Why not? So I go in. I get licensed. Within like 6-7 weeks, I get licensed. I was like all in. I paid everything. I'm hitting the floor running, right? I had saved up some money while I was working with my dad separately. I was able to save up some money, which was nice. So I was able to do that and kind of take the time, like, hey, to really learn what was going on. Now, I had joined my buddy Gerson, a great guy, but he was not ready to be a team lead. He really was not. So I was like, hey, what do I do? He's like, I don't know, go do some open houses. All right, give me some signs. I'll go do some open houses. Sat in open houses. I'm like, all right, I guess this is what we do. He told me to invite people in the neighborhood. So what did I do? I went and door knocked, and I invited people in the neighborhood. Not knowing anything about real estate, just get out there. What do I say? Hey, we're having an open house. Come by. Okay, you say so. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it at the best I can. And that's what I did, right? All right, what would I do now? I don't know. Cold call. Man, cold calling. I don't want a cold call. That's tough. All right, I'm going to do it. And I did it. Hey, cold calling is kind of tough. Like, I really like the door knocking thing. Can I go door knock? Yeah, sure, go door knock. What do I do? Here's this market update. You know, pick some of the homes. I'll help you. He printed them out, and he's like, all right, go door knock. I'm like, all right, what do I say? Hey, just try to see if people are looking to buy or sell. I'm like, okay. So I started doing some research on YouTube, get out there, started door knocking. And now I'm doing open houses, I'm door knocking, I'm cold calling, right? And I'm still not licensed yet. I'm still not licensed, but I'm doing my part. And then I decided to be a genius and be like, I want to marry my fiance, or I want to marry my girlfriend. So I decided to ask for my now wife's hand in marriage. Again, no business. You know, this is now April when I asked her to do that. And I was like, hey, I'm going to figure this out. And I'm going to do it. Now, I'm telling you this because throughout this whole time where I'm doing this, I had this belief. That I was going to do whatever it took to make it happen. I was not going to let anything get in my way. I was going to go and do it. And I was going to just figure it out. And so, you ask me like, man, she said yes? I'm like, yeah, I don't know why she said yes or how she said yes. I'm like, she did. So I went all in. Right? So proposed to my wife. So now I'm working. I'm about to get licensed. It's May, and I get licensed, and I get that paper. And it's like, I got licensed after 3 times, by the way. I'm like, dude, now I'm going to make money. I'm actually licensed. I can do this legit. So I'm a couple of months in now, right? And still nothing. Now we're getting closer, like later towards the year in 2017. Now it's time for us to get married because we set a date. We've been doing everything. I've been kind of distant because I haven't been able to produce or contribute as much as I would like to, but I'm still all in. Right? I get married, and I'm gonna get to the rookie of the year part, but this is important, right? And now I'm working some people. I've door knocked. I'm getting some clients. Things are starting to move. So I opened up 4 escrows towards the end of the year. This is after I'm married. I'm like finally gonna get paid. Like this, I'm there. I'm gonna make it. 4 escrows, and like my mentor's like, dude, you're doing really good. Keep it going. I can't believe it. You're doing everything right. All 4 of them fall out. And I remember looking at Alfonso, and he's like, dude, 1, okay, 2, I get it, but 4 escrows have fallen out within a matter of 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on. And I remember looking at him and just giving him the stare. And this was maybe me being naive. maybe that belief. I don't know what it was, but my response to him was, it's okay, man. God's got me. One day, this is going to be one hell of a story. And that was it. And he just looked at me like, I don't know, bro. You're married. You need to make some money. So I had to supplement some income. I started driving Lyft, right? So what I would do is I would go to the office and I would tape up my Lyft sign when I was actually driving Lyft. And then when I would go to the office, I would rip it down. So I was doing that for a long time. So it's crazy, right? Like 4 escrows fall out and I just kept putting in the work. So what does some of this work look like? One, I was full-time. I had no choice. Full-time, besides the whole lifting I would do on odd hours. Hey, you got to do whatever you got to do it. But when when it was time to go all in, I did it. Right? And I worked my butt off. I would hold open houses Wednesdays, Thursdays, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday after church. And I would do that. And then I would door knock. And I finally got some clients from my wife. She helped me get some clients. It was great. We helped them buy a condo. This is already going into 2018, right? So I'm helping them. We're looking, and I'm like, man, I got to make something happen. And then I get a listing from a door knock, random door knock. I give them my business card. They're like, hey, we're actually watching a Dodger game right now. I don't can just leave us your card and we'll call you later. And I'm like, okay, whatever. They're never gonna call me. I give them my card. And I'm back in our apartment in Norwalk, and we get a phone call from the wife saying, hey, you know what? We are still thinking of selling because it was expired. And when can you stop by? And I'm like freaking out, and I'm like praying, and I'm like, thank you, God. And this is from a door knock, random door. I don't know who these people are. I was doing all the right things, but when you're doing all the right things, a lot of times it could feel like, man, I'm never going to see that, the end of the tunnel, that light at the end of the tunnel. It's never going to be there. And I'll tell you that it is. And it happened for me, right? So I lost all those escrows, and then I started working with the clients, and I opened up these escrows going in, and they were all set to close in January. So I ended up closing 3 escrows in January, and we ended up going to Hawaii because I told my wife, like, hey, if we can close 3 escrows, we'll have enough money to go on a trip with our friends who were getting married. It was going to be like a group thing, so it was going to be a lot cheaper. And we're able to do that, which was great. So I go on to win Rookie of the Year in 2018, and I closed 12 units, a little under 8 million in volume. You got to remember the volume was a lot less back then, right? The homes weren't like super, super crazy, but it was just relentless work. You're probably thinking, those numbers are not too crazy. For me, it was crazy because I hadn't done anything for 8 or 9 months. Right. So one thing that I want to share with you guys, if you guys are just starting out, you got to put in the work. You have to have that relentless work day in, day out, and you can't lose it until you find ways to build systems and put the right people in the right boat. Put the people in the right spot to help you. But till then, it's on you. You have to work, right? Browsing the MLS is not work. Reading your emails is not work. Waiting for a response on an offer is not work. You got to prospect. You got to talk to people. And you got to talk to more people. The people who talk to more people for a longer period of time and develop their skills, those are the people who are going to win. So if you're waking up every day and you're like, well, I talked to 3 people today, it's not enough. I talked to 10 people, it's not enough. I talked to 15 people, it's not enough. 25, maybe. 30, okay, you're getting there. That's what it's going to take. Right? And that's what I did. I was relentless on the phones, cold calling, triple line dialer, open houses, and I just sucked. My skills weren't there, but I was working on getting better. So most of my deals came from my wife's sphere of influence. She was telling everybody I was doing real estate. She's my biggest fan, and she was able to help me get that business, which was amazing. And on top of that, I was able to get one deal from door knocking. Well, technically it was 2 deals from door knocking, right? Because they bought and sold. And the rest came from open houses. And I was like, hey, I'm going to just do open houses because they work. And they do, right? I was sitting at an open house, and I will never forget this. Sitting at an open house a Thursday. People were like, what are you doing an open house for on a Thursday? I was just sitting there. I'm like, I got nothing else to do. I'm going to follow up with people, message. I'm going to do some content while I'm here. And I remember this house was in South Amani. I'm sitting there, hot day. Thank God the guy let me turn on the AC while I was there. And somebody pulls up, and they're like, oh, hey, you door knocked our house like a month and a half ago. And I'm like, I did door knock your house. you didn't give me your info. Like, they didn't want to give me their number. Again, skill thing, right? Because now I could probably lock in that number with my eyes closed. And they end up coming in and like, well, actually, we just sold the house. And I was like, oh gosh, it just sold the house. Like, that could have been me. But again, it's all about timing. They're like, we've been looking for the last like 4 months. And when you door knocked us, we weren't sure if you were a serious person. But now we see you here working on a Thursday. So my work ethic proved to them that I was going to be the right person for them. And what I did is I had talked to a seller that was thinking of selling in the next 5 months. And I kind of put the two together. So I talked to the seller. They're like, we're not going to do anything for 5 months. You know, they're going to just give us time. And I kept following up. And I'm like, who knows if she's actually going to do something. So now this buyer walks into my open house on a Thursday, just super random, and then says, yeah, we have about $550,000 cash. And I'm like, okay, like, I have never gotten somebody coming in. They have that much cash. They had just sold the house, right? And they're like, we're having issues with finding the right house because we keep getting outbid. So they would look at a house, and back then the houses in South Almani, now they're like 800 some thousand. Before they were like mid 400s to about high 400s. 475 was probably like the most in those specific neighborhoods. And I was like, hey, I have the seller. They're not ready to make a move for the next about 5 months, but if I can get you in the door, do you want to go check it out? It's a 3-bedroom, it's a 2-bath, it's in this nice neighborhood by the Ramada. If I could do that, would you be interested? And they're like, yeah, get me in the door. Got their info. I went back to the seller and I'm like, Connie, I got this buyer, all cash. They're probably, comfortable with paying $480. The highest sale in that neighborhood was $473. And I remember this, $473. And Connie's like, well, if I'm not going to put it on the market, I want $490. And I looked at her and I'm like, Connie, we're not going to get $490. I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with over there and I'm going to tell them that you want $500,000 and then I'm going to try to work them down to $490 so we can get you that price. And she's like, okay, do what you have to do. So I go to the buyer and they love the house. They're like touching it, like try to lift up the patio, make sure it's in place. I'm remembering all this, and they bought the house. I told them, hey, she wants $500,000. We don't have to show it to anybody else if you agree to $500,000. And the lady looked at me and was like, okay, what is it going to be with closing costs? I'm like, about $515, maybe $513 or something. She's like, let's do it, write it up. So I was able to double end a listing that never went onto the market, and I got both sides of the commission just because I was doing an open house on a Thursday. So that's the type of work ethic that you need to have. Now, another thing, I was relentless about what I was putting into my mind. I was watching YouTube. I was listening to podcasts. I was working out. Got to do a little better job of that now. But I was instilling all this stuff into my mind over and over and over, right? I was journaling every day, and what I would write down in my journal every single day, and I have the receipts. I'm sure that it's somewhere actually in this office probably. And I would write down, I'm gonna win Rookie of the Year at Remax Top Producers in 2018. And I wrote that down every single day, right? How do I know I wrote it down every day? I did a challenge that I was gonna write in my journal, 1 page in my journal every single day. And I did it for 150 days. And I would write it down every single day, over and over. I'm a man of God, and I'll write all this stuff down, right? And then what I would do is, it was crazy, but I would visualize myself receiving the trophy and Christian calling my name, Robert Cedeno, Rookie of the Year 2018, Remax Top Producers. And I would visualize myself being so happy and excited to win the award. And I would visualize myself going and accepting the award and feeling it. I don't even know what the trophies were going to look like, but I was thinking I knew what it would look like. I was thinking of a baseball trophy probably. And I would look at it and then I would give my speech. I won Rookie of the Year because my wife believed in me. I won Rookie of the Year because God is great, right? I won Rookie of the Year because of this work, that work. And I'm creating a speech in my mind. This is how obsessed I was with winning Rookie of the Year, that I created this thing in my mind to get me there. And I visualized all that. So when I won the award, all I got was a picture. I actually did not say a speech, but I won the award in 2018 and it was great. But I was obsessed about it, right? And now our goals are bigger. Our goals have changed. But I learned a huge lesson that year. If you put in the work and you put attention to what you want to get, you can get it. So if you guys are in that spot right now where you're probably thinking, man, I don't know, this is for me. I might just quit. I might just hang up the license. I might just hang up the gloves, the cleats, whatever. Don't do it. So if you guys are looking to take your business to the next level, you're here in the SoCal area, we are hiring and we can help you. SoCal Cedeno, out.